This is the College Investor Audio Show, and one of my favorite topics to talk about. Very passionate about this one: how to start a side hustle. Because the side hustle that I do became my full-time job, and it's awesome. All right, so before we get into that, I just want to remind you that you can always hit subscribe. We would be so grateful if you did that. You can also share this with as many people as you like, whoever you think will find it helpful. And we have tons and tons of resources too at thecollegeinvestor.com. We're all over social media. You have any questions, comments, you just want to drop us a line, we'd love to hear from you. You can just search for The College Investor and you'll find us. Before we get to today's show, I wanted to share a quick reminder that being financially organized is one of the biggest factors in building wealth. Want to be a millionaire? It's not going to happen if you're not organized with your money. So how can you get organized? Well, our favorite app is Empower. It's free, allows you to connect your banks and brokers, and it gives you daily income and expense updates. Ready to try it out? You can sign up at thecollegeinvestor.com/empowermoney. Let's get to it. How to start a side hustle. Yes! Okay, so work all day and then work some more on your passion project. This seems to be the motto of most Gen Z and millennial people, and for good reason, because 2020 gave everyone a scare in one way or another, and it certainly led to an uptick in side hustle culture, that's for sure. Or maybe gig economy, if you will. All right, so the term side hustle is defined as a secondary business or a job with the potential to produce extra income. And not just extra income, completely replacing your other job. Seriously. Recent data indicates approximately 93% of working adults in the U.S. currently have a side hustle. 93%! That is a sharp increase from the number of adults who held a side hustle prior to 2020. Just a quick internet search will display endless lists of side hustle options, but there aren't as many resources for how to actually get started on a side hustle. So we're going to go ahead and take you through the steps to finding the right one for you and helping it to go live, plus all the other things to keep in mind as you venture into new territory. First up, find what you're good at. Regardless of your reason for wanting to do a side hustle, make sure it actually aligns with the skills and interests that you have. If you don't focus on this at the outset, you might quickly lose interest in and motivation for the work you once wanted to do. So really think about where you find joy in your work and what you can offer to others. These questions are really a good place to start for you. Number one, why do I want to do this? Find your why. This is vital. Number two, what am I good at that I can capitalize on? 3, what and where is the need for my skills and interests? Find that need. And then 4, how much time can I commit to doing extra work each week, month, and year? 5, how will this help me grow and or meet my long-term goals? Get the long game in mind. 6, how will this impact my day-to-day life and routine? And the last one to ask is, what is my timeline for doing this work? So doing just a quick analysis through those questions of the market you're interested in will indicate what demand looks like for you today. If you can, focus on where that demand intersects your top skills and then expand from there. The next step you need to do is create a business strategy. Let's talk about that. Once you have the answers to those big 7 questions, you can put together a plan to get your newfound ideas off the ground and into the hands of others. So if your side hustle requires investment, some funding, partnership, you're definitely going to want to put together a business plan. Even if you aren't pursuing funding or partnerships, it can still be helpful to lay out your overall vision for your side hustle. If you're not really sure what to include in a business plan, start with these things. Number 1, identify your goals for having a side hustle. 2, describe what products or services you plan to provide. 3, establish a time frame for getting started and for completing your goals if you have a specific timeline. 4, use market research to outline the need for your skills in the areas with greatest opportunity. 5, identify all the tools and software, maybe some technology you're going to need to be successful. 6, create a budget to operate within. So important. 7, design a plan to market yourself. All right, so after that, know your time commitment. If you're venturing into side hustle territory, it's likely you still have a full-time job to pay attention to. But when you're excited about something new, like launching your first side hustle, it can be tempting to spend more time on what makes you happiest. But that's not really the best way to kickstart your new gig. While there's no way to split your time between jobs, there are a few strategies that have helped others stay motivated and on track while switching between the two. Well, for instance, some only pursue their side hustle first thing in the morning, late at night, or strictly on weekends. That's what I did. It was kind of like my lunch break and late at night. That was it. That's all the time I had. Others find it best to utilize the downtime they have in between work tasks during their day job. I kind of did that, squeezed it in when I could. And that was kind of the way I did it. But some people like to dedicate a whole day or even a few half days to sit in uninterrupted work time, just depending on what your skill set is. Whatever you choose, make sure there are clear boundaries around when you're on and when you're off. Be diligent with the time you spend focusing on your day job versus any free time, quote unquote, you have to devote to other priorities. And please don't forget to check in with yourself. Are you getting enough sleep? Have you been outside recently? When's the last time you were fully present with friends or family? You know what I mean? So don't wait until it's too late to take care of yourself. Know what burnout looks like and feels like for you, and then implement strategies to maintain balance in your life so you can still enjoy your side hustle. Again, it's why it's so important to know your why. Why am I doing this in the first place? All right, let's move on to continue to learn and grow. Depending on your side hustle and how competitive the market is, you might need to up-level your skills and competencies before you can even market yourself. But if you come into your side gig with many skills ready to offer, it's still not a bad idea to continue seeking new ways to grow and learn. A lot of people start a side hustle with the intention of it only ever being just that. But then their business expands enough to turn it into their main hustle. Me, you never know where it might take you. So consider these options for fine-tuning your skills and market versatility. Number 1, invest in a course or certificate to formalize your knowledge. 2, subscribe to industry news to stay current on trends and best practices. 3, join the local chapter of a relevant professional network, if you have a local one, or pursue one online. 4, get creative with your skill development to build job security. And 5, seek mentorship from friends, colleagues, or peers. Another important point here is the need to network yourself. Whether you're just starting to think about a side hustle or you're in the midst of building out your brand, you can gather a ton of information just by talking with friends and family. It's likely you know at least one person with a side hustle. Not only can they share how they got started, but they can help you brainstorm ways to utilize your skills. The internet is another great place to turn to for real. So as you think about what you'll want to do, you might also need to consider how you'll network yourself at a broader scale. How will you showcase your product or service and the value it has for others? So what do you need to attract and retain customers? Yeah, there are endless ways to market yourself through online and offline channels, so just go ahead and take advantage of them. And then we move on to keep your finances in perspective. All right, so given the definition of side hustle, it's normal to expect additional income as a result of your extra work. It should be. Maybe you've been sitting on a home run idea that takes off faster than you can cash the checks you get. Wow, congrats. Or maybe you only took on a side hustle to make some extra cash to pay down some debt, and you really have no intention of bringing in thousands of extra dollars each month. Well, either way, it's important to know your goals and be familiar with the financial and legal regulations that will affect you come tax season. What are the tax implications of all this? Bringing in some extra income each month sounds fantastic, but having a side hustle ventures into new financial territory for many of us. So the obvious difference is that you'll become a freelancer, working on a contract basis for a company or through your own company, which means you'll need to understand your new tax situation. Here's some pro tips for you for setting yourself up for financial success as a freelancer. Set aside 20 to 30% of your extra income for taxes. Go 30, just in case. So when you're self-employed, there's an additional tax added to your standard federal income tax rate. And taxes aren't withheld either as a freelancer the way they are in a traditional 9 to 5. So this means it's your job to report your extra income and pay taxes owed on that income. You might need to pay estimated taxes. I do now. The IRS prefers that you pay taxes as you earn income throughout the year, not in one lump sum at tax time. So if you expect to owe more than $1,000 in taxes from your side hustle, you'll need to pay quarterly taxes. If you only bring in a few $100 a year, you can go ahead and skip all this. Track gig income separately, too. Because you can typically write off some of the expenses on your side hustle, you'll want to track your gig finances separately from your personal finances. Come tax season, it'll be so much easier to sort bank statements and pull specific expenses. You might also be wondering whether you should have your own LLC or limited liability company for a side hustle. The short answer, no. You don't need to form an LLC to take on extra work, but there are some perks to having one. The main benefit is having liability protection. Unlike sole proprietorships, an LLC provides peace of mind by separating your personal assets from your business liabilities. So this means that if your business is ever sued, the party suing can only go after your business assets, not your personal assets like your house and car and all that stuff. Remaining a sole proprietorship has its advantages too, though. It's easy, it keeps costs low, and you can still deduct certain business expenses. You can always reassess your needs as your business grows too. And let's wrap things up for today. Despite what it seems, building a side hustle isn't really always easy, and it's not for everyone either. Don't let hustle culture alter your idea of happiness and success, especially if you're only considering a side hustle because they're popular. For every person who has a side hustle, 2 or 3 others are content to do other things in their free time. But if you are looking to start a side gig, get really clear on your why. I know I said this a couple times today, but this is so important. Put some time and energy into planning out your path. Talking to others with a side hustle and researching market needs. Having a side hustle can be a great way to generate extra income, develop new skills, and find a creative outlet. And then when you're ready, read through the many ways you can actually earn extra income. Then follow the steps laid out for you right here in this podcast and get yourself going. You never know. I started thinking, well, if I can just earn a couple $100 a month, I'll be good. Now, I earn a couple $100,000 doing my side hustle. It can happen, friend. Pursue it, know your why, and get it done. And that is our show for today. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you liked it. Share this with others who may be thinking about starting a side hustle as well. We have like over 100 different side hustle ideas, I think, on thecollegeinvestor.com, and the list keeps growing as more and more people get more creative with their side hustles. You can also follow us all over social media, ask questions. Oh, so many people to ask in the College Investor Network. Just search for the College Investor and you'll find us. Thanks again for stopping by today, and we will talk to you again real soon.